Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're talking about sound design once again. A video commented on my comment last week. That's a bit wrong, isn't it? A commenter commented on my video from last week. They suggested that I should show you how I created the sound and the drop with SERUM. I took this opportunity to just create a little drop with a few sounds, and I'm gonna go through them step by step and show you how I did it. I also leave these sounds in a little pack for you just for free to use them. So this is the drop. We are creating everything except for the drums, obviously, because that would be too much for this video. I start with the chords. This is the same chord preset I had last week. Heads up first, almost every sound I feel like in house music, future house, whatever, is created with the saw wave, I feel like. So we have a saw wave. It's an octave down, unison of 6, and some alpha noise with direct out. Direct out means it doesn't go through the filter and the effects section. I have a filter which just filters oscillator A, and a small LFO is controlling the frequency, so we have a little bit of a stutter, but just subtle. I did the same thing with the panning, but just left to right, so it's in the middle in 16ths. Some hyper to make it wider, some chorus to make it wider, some reverb to make it wider, and some compression to compress it. And that's it already. It's really simple, but it sounds lush and cool. The second thing I made is this respace. Respaces are also essential for EDM or future house music. Everything you do electronically, can't go wrong with it. It's essentially just a saw wave. Again, unison of 7 this time, 1 octave down. This looks exactly like the chords, doesn't it? Whoopsie. But with a sub oscillator also turned on. Some noise, a filter. I turn the drive a bit up for some volume. Hyper, distortion, a bit much, and compression. I controlled the filter of the res here with this automation right here. The next thing I made is this little lead, a saw wave, a rounded saw. Oh, we're getting a bit fancy. Filter on A and B, that means the filter goes on, affects both these oscillators. Noise with direct out. Again, the envelope 1 a bit plucky, so we have more attack. LFO 1 controls the position in this saw rounded, so it's plucky, so this happens like quickly, you'll see. LFO 2 on the frequency to make it plucky. Then distortion, compression, chorus, delay, ping pong and 8, reverb, and that's it already. Most sounds I make are similar in how I create them. Just put distortion on it, compress it, make it wide or leave it narrow, and then you're almost there in a way. Where is the second LFO 1 going? Ah, this fine tune thing. Yeah, it just makes a little. This is the lead. I automated the reverb on this, so we have more reverb in the gaps in between. Yeah, the next thing I made is a little pluck. I used Icon's kick, which looks like this if you change the position, and it's a fun wavetable, I think. Fun wavetable sounds so nerdy. Ah, shit. Short attack, short decay, no sustain, and short release. I made the LFO, and then envelope mode, so it only hits on every note and not continuously. Then drag this on position and frequency to make it plucky. In the effects section, distortion, compression, reverb, filter to make it a bit softer. Envelope 2 is on the master tune, so we have this pluckiness, and the pluck is this. Together with the lead. Now you're probably wondering, what the hell is this? This is just a single note. Is this a drone? Well, that would be actually good if this was a drone. But this is just a bit weird. This is for you advanced nerds out there. So I started with the sine wave, and then I turned the delay on, linked them, didn't sync it to the BPM, feedback almost all the way up, mix all the way up, and then the EQ like this. And this LFO is on the left and right of the delay, and it's really short. It's no tone at all. It has almost no tonal information. It's just like some percussion things. Hyperdimension for some width, chorus for some width, distortion for distortion, compression, EQ to boost the highs and take out the lows, filter to make it softer again, noise with direct out, but this time this is a sample I dragged in. You can just drag any sample you want into the noise. There's this icon that indicates that you can't, but you can actually if you just let it go. And I have a sample in here, and this plays just like the oscillator now. It's a sampler, basically. I drag this LFO on the volume of this as well, the position of this wave table, and on the volume of this one, and the volume of the sine wave, and it sounds like this. This is so much effort for some percussion stuff. Just use some samples and put short delay. And I know I could do that, but it wouldn't be in SERUM. Wouldn't be so cool and nerdy. The pre-drop vocal is me saying, oh, let's fly together or something. Just an octave down. Wait, let me show you.
Oh, let us fly together.
Oh, let us fly together. So creative. EQ'd it a bit to control it, because I recorded this with my phone like a true professional. Then I put some auto-tune on this. Supermassive for some short delay, and SERUM effects. You can use SERUM just for effects. Did you know that? I know you did, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. Hyper, distortion, chorus for width, compression for... You get it, it's always the same shit. But now it gets interesting, because I use this LFO on the hyper distortion, on the chorus, on the reverb, and on the gain of the highs here, I think. Yeah. If you play it like this, the LFO doesn't work. Sounds ass. If you take a MIDI out and put a note in the MIDI out, put the port to whatever number you like, and in the SERUM effects, you take the input port from the MIDI, same port. This wasn't English. I don't care. And if you just lay it underneath, the LFOs work, and you get this rhythmical 8th rhythm.
Oh, let us fly together.
Yeah, I liked it. Do you like it? I hope so. I also automated this reverb just to make it wet in the beginning and get it back in.
Oh, let us fly together.
Now to the drop, to the fun part. Bass. This is the bass from last video the comment asked me about. It's a saw wave. Noise with direct out. Filter. Distortion, but really harsh distortion. Compression. Multiple compression in this instance. And some EQing to make room for a sub bass. And this is what the bass sounds like. It's just on the sidechain thing. But apart from that, it's all in SERUM. Then I created the sub bass. To make a sub bass is really simple. Just 2 octaves down and make a sine wave. A bit of distortion if you want, a bit of compression if you want. It's really full. Like it. I made a lead. Noise, a saw wave. Saw rounded, we know this wave already. Some filtering to make it softer, and a unison of 9 on the second wave table and an octave down. Hyper for some width. Reverb for some width. Compression and distortion. Diode 1 again, because I love this distortion. It's just hits really hard. I like it. LFO 1 is on the mix of the reverb, but inverted. So it's up like this, and every time the note plays, it goes down, like in this rhythm right here. So the attack of every note is always clean and has no wet part of it. We also have some chords in the drop. This is just a super saw. So we have a saw wave and another saw wave. Pan left and right for some width. Noise with direct out. My presets are all the same, but they sound different. You can also do a lot of stuff in the effects or in the processing. Almost every sound is a saw wave and then processed really hard in the effects chain afterwards. That's where the character comes in. Hyper for some width, distortion, chorus. You get it. They sound like this. Actually, we can put an EQ on this and just take out the highs a bit to make room for the lead. I think this will sound better in the mix. Then I created a little B part here. This is where it gets interesting in my opinion. I made this. This is just the chord where it finishes, like here, and which plays throughout these two bars. And I made another SERUM preset. LFO1 on the filter to get a bit of a whoop whoop going. Yeah, you get it. LFO2, I'm going too fast. Slow wave, noise. Hyper, chorus, distortion, delay, and compression. But LFO2 on the feedback of the delay, on the mix, on the distortion mix, on left and right, to make it a bit more complicated. To hear this little... Yeah, that's the second LFO. The LFO is in the middle right here. That means if you just put it in the track, it's delayed. So I exported this in audio and pushed it a little bit to the right, to the left, sorry. Then I duplicated this, put it an octave up for some width, and then I made one left, one right for the Haas effect. Do you know what the Haas effect is? If you don't, just go to every other video of me. I like it. Leave me alone. I automated the bit crush from RC20 and some reverb and pitch shifter, so we have a bit of an octave up in the end to make it brighter. I filtered this with a filter, make it wider with vocal doubler, louder with soft clipper, and then we get this. Some 8th rhythms would be cool in here. So I have this percussion, sidechain on it, and volume automation so it matches the chords. Filtering together. The bass line is also being filtered with a EQ and just does the same thing. This automation controls the Valhalla Supermassive and the tremolator on the lead. So when the lead doesn't play, it just stutters a bit longer. Then I put my little pre-drop vocal in here, just an octave up. And that's the drop with all SERUM presets made right here, right now. Live in action. From your favorite artist slash producer slash YouTuber slash That's it for this week. I hope you learned something. I've nothing much to say except for goodbye. I'm gonna leave the sample pack down in the description for you to download for free. And we'll see each other next week. Have a great one. Goodbye. Wrong hand. Goodbye.